The Google Pixel 3 and 3 XL denote search giant Google's third set of premium smartphones in just as many years. While Pixel devices have become well known for their smooth operation and enviable prowess in photography during this short period of time, Google has over a longer period established itself as an innovator. Being a software-first company in a hardware world has its advantages, and Google intends to not let us forget that. This year Google came out guns blazing, in a war that many thought they were already winning. The fight for photographic supremacy in the smartphone realm. Virtually all the improvements and features on the new Pixel's camera come via software, specifically AI. This too is the case with some of the most enviable Pixel exclusive features, including a call screening service for telemarketers and the ability to have Google Assistant call restaurants and book reservations on your behalf. By this time of year, we have a pretty good idea what top-of-the-line Android hardware brings to the table. So does Google's smartest smartphone yet achieve supremacy through software?
Visually, the Pixels don't look very different from their predecessors, at least in back. The backs are now constructed entirely of a single piece of glass though, with a matte finish on bottom and a glossy finish up top to achieve the distinct two-tone Pixel look. This looks and feels nice in the hand, lending some texture and grip to the device with the hybrid coating while still feeling premium. The matte finish glass, while not prone to fingerprints, can become dirty with grease pretty easily, requiring a wiping with liquid or a lot of elbow grease to properly clean off. The most noticeable change, of course, is in the displays. On the Pixel 3, Google's rounded the corners and shrunk the surrounding bezel significantly, while the 3 XL introduces a rather meaty notch into its display. By no means are we notch shaming. It's 2018 and we all have to open our minds and screens to accept the notch. But if the iPhone XS has horns, then the Pixel 3 has some full-blown bunny ears. It's a big beautiful screen though, and as with any notched phone, it doesn't technically get in the way of anything. The headphone jack isn't coming back, but Google still includes a USB-C to 3.5mm adapter and a set of USB-C Pixel buds to make you feel at home. Dust and water resistance has also stepped up to the more robust IP68 standard. Both screens are a bit bigger than last year, the Pixel 3 by a ½ inch and the XL by a third, and while the shapes may have changed, these are still vibrant, deep-colored OLEDs with high pixel densities and resolutions. Colors are very accurate too, especially in the natural screen mode. The other two modes, adaptive and boosted, are pretty accurate too, but they do dial up the contrast just a bit. All three are very pleasant to look at, and we could be happy leaving our phone in any three of these modes. They're not the brightest pair of screens on the block, but they do fine in direct sunlight. There is some room for improvement though. Running clean Android 9 Pie out of the box, Google's managed to add a little extra seasoning to the pot when cooking up these new Pixel phones. There's more than a few enviable exclusive features to note. First, there's call screening. This adds a screen call option to the typical accept or decline when a phone call comes in. Choosing this new option will send your caller to a voicemail-like service which asks the caller to state their business. In real time, the Pixel will transcribe the caller's response for you to see and choose how to respond, giving you a handful of useful preset responses, all of which are relayed to the caller via the Google Assistant to help you handle these calls properly. Of course, if you realize the call is spam, you can mark it as such and the assistant will ask the caller to remove you from their calling list and end the call. This works like a charm and is a nice feature to have in the age of seemingly endless robocalls. It's currently exclusive to the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, but will soon roll out to the rest of the Pixel lineup. Duplex is another assistant-driven service, which can make restaurant reservations for you. Just ask Google Assistant to make a reservation, the assistant says okay, then you put your phone down and go about your day. Meanwhile, the assistant calls the restaurant with its convincingly human AI-trained voice, introduces itself as the Google Assistant, and proceeds to ask for a reservation. Once confirmed, you'll get a notification that your reservation has been made, which you can then easily add to your calendar. Deployment of this feature will only come to certain cities and doesn't have a specific date, but rollout should begin before the end of the year. Digital well-being, similar to screen time for Apple, offers you a way to monitor and control the number of notifications you receive and the amount of time you spend in each app, while also monitoring how often you unlock your phone. The idea, of course, is to help you be more mindful of your phone use. More proactive functions like app timers can be set, while flip to shh and wind down mode limit the flow of alerts coming into your phone. The former works by simply enabling the function and resting your phone on its face to silence notifications, while the latter can be scheduled and will turn your phone to grayscale, enable the blue light filter, and turn on Do Not Disturb in preparation for bedtime. Of course, all of these restrictions can simply be turned off at the flip of a switch, but at least they help encourage healthier habits when enabled. This feature won't remain Pixel exclusive, but it's unclear when it'll make its way to other Android handsets. Exclusive to Pixels for now, Google Assistant can now be accessed on the lock screen without unlocking. Pixel 3s can facilitate answers to general questions or functions, but will require you to unlock the device to see your schedule or message a friend, for instance. Active Edge is still featured here too, adding the ability to silence alarms in addition to summoning the Google Assistant. You still can't map it to different functions though. Google Lens can also now recognize contact info, websites, and QR codes from within the regular camera app without having to switch to a specified mode. It's a bit hit and miss though, so simply jotting down the information yourself is usually the better option, but it is quite convenient when it does work. With the introduction of wireless charging, Google's new Pixel Stand adds some smart screen functionality to the phones as well. When docked, Google Assistant goes into an always listening state, able to control smart devices or field your queries as a Google Home Hub might. There's also a feature called Sunrise Alarm, which uses orange light to mimic the sunrise and wake you up gently. Then when you're awake, just like a Google Home device, you can say to your phone, "Hey Google, good morning," and receive your daily rundown. All of these are very cool, useful additions, which we're sure will have their fans, us included. But there's one very fundamental feature we'd like to see improve, and that's on-device search functionality. Being made by search giant Google, there's really no excuse for us not being able to tap into the search bar and easily find an important email or picture. Let's get that sweet machine learning voodoo centralized to help users find what's important to them, their stuff. As far as top-of-the-line Android specs go, the Pixels have what you're looking for, with the latest Snapdragon 845 processors paired with 4GB of RAM. Starting storage capacity is only 64 gigs though, with 128 still being an option, and expandable storage still inexplicably not. Pixel's famously smooth operation is again found on the Pixel 3s. Movement through the OS and app switching is prompt and fluid. Juggling multiple intensive tasks won't have you encountering any stutters or hangs. Gaming on these devices is also smooth, coughing up few, if any, dropped frames. Some new silicon has also debuted on the Pixel 3s, the Titan M chip, which is a dedicated security module that handles device encryption and the lock screen. You won't see any differences here, but any hardware level measure aimed at making your device more secure is a move we can get behind. The Pixels have been known for their sharp photography since their introduction, and the Pixel team hasn't rested on their laurels here, making some useful improvements and adding all new features. Essential to these features is Pixel Visual Core, Google's dedicated image processor first introduced on the Pixel 2. Initially utilized to enable HDR photo capture in third-party apps, this dedicated processor has an integral role in the newest AI-powered features and improvements. Let's take a quick rundown on what's new. First, there's Top Shot. This detects movement in your scene and uses the Pixel's ultra-fast shutter to take multiple shots, selecting and saving the best photo of the group through AI. Enabling this is as simple as hitting a toggle within the camera UI. In our experience, this has been a very useful feature. On a few occasions, we took pictures where we were positive we missed the moment, only to find in our gallery that Top Shot had not only been quick enough to capture it, but also smart enough to select the very moment we thought we had missed as its recommendation. Best of all, leaving this feature enabled seemed to have no ill effects on capture speed or photo quality, leading us to keep it on indefinitely, or at least on auto, just in case. You can also easily select an alternate photo from the series, or export the entire moment as a GIF. Top Shot is easy to enable, fun to use, and above all, good at its job. Night Sight is a still forthcoming feature which will rely heavily on AI to brighten and enhance photos taken in extremely low light scenarios, but we can't wait to put it through its paces. Google's also added some new content for their AR stickers and rebranded the entire feature as Playground. More seemingly interactive Marvel characters are on the way, as well as a dancing Childish Gambino character, because who doesn't love that guy? Lastly, motion autofocus helps you focus moving subjects by tapping on them. This works pretty well up close, but as the subjects move farther away, accuracy begins to wane. The Pixel 3 and 3 XL both pack 12.2 megapixel cameras, and photos taken on them are superb. Details are abundant and colors are accurate across most any lighting situation. Google's application of AI combined with HDR+ and quick shutter times processed through the dedicated Pixel Visual Core processor result in quickly, efficiently, and beautifully captured moments. In low-light situations, most of this remains true, showing marked improvements over last year's Pixels, even without the introduction of Night Sight. Dynamic shots, while well exposed overall, can lose a little detail in the darkest of areas. But this nitpick aside, there's no question the Pixel 3 and 3 XL are contenders for best-in-class photography. Google says they don't need no stinking second camera for portrait mode, and with the results we've seen, we tend to agree. Bokeh application in portrait mode is extremely adept, on par with any of the best dual camera applications. You can also change the depth of the blur effect, the part of the picture to which the blur is applied, isolate the subject with a black and white background, and more. Google did concede that a second camera is helpful for bigger selfies though, stacking an 8 megapixel regular camera with another 8 megapixel wide angle. Pictures taken on both portray commendable details, accurate colors, and effortless exposure. We were also pleased to find that differences in image quality between the two front facers were negligible, something we can't say about all front-facing dual camera setups. Unlike photo capture, videos recorded on the Pixel 3 and 3 XL were a bit of a mixed bag. The first thing you'll notice is the incredibly compressed sounding audio. News has come down the pipe that the Pixel 3s will support external microphones, which we didn't want to need, but may seem necessary if you're serious about taking videos on your Pixel 3 or 3 XL. Videos looked quite excellent though, portraying accurate colors and good detail, while also doing a stellar job with image stabilization. However, dynamic videos taken at night, such as a busy city street, seem to have issues with artifacts when moving the camera. We're hopeful these deviations from an otherwise solid media experience can be addressed quickly in a future software update. As usual, launching as a Verizon exclusive won't keep the Pixel out of reach for anyone on other networks, as unlocked versions will be available through Google with all the band support you'll ever need. Phone calls on the Pixel 3 are always a pleasure. We had no issues with reception or sound quality to report on either end. The stereo speaker setup also makes speakerphone calls a breeze. These speakers on the Pixels are 40% louder than their predecessors, making the media experience a loud and pretty clear one. Whether watching HDR content on YouTube or simply jamming out on your included 6 months free YouTube subscription, the speakers on both Pixel devices will keep you pretty well immersed. Google also bundles a set of USB-C Pixel Buds and a USB-C to 3.5mm adapter for more personal listening. The Pixel Buds sound decent and have some pretty nifty features, like full Google Assistant support and real-time translation in over 40 languages, so you might want to at least check those out. Battery life on the Pixel 3s isn't too shabby, but not exceedingly impressive either. In our use, we found both the XL and the Pixel 3 to last around a day of moderate to intense use. This is more or less the standard, but perhaps over time we'll see better results as the Pixel's adaptive battery feature, which prioritizes battery usage for the apps you use most, learns our habits.
Utilizing a ton of smart software, AI, and machine learning, Google is once again able to craft a pair of highly competitive devices that can easily go toe-to-toe with the best in the industry. The Pixel 3 and 3 XL performed commendably in all areas we tested them in. Most importantly, Google made sure to enhance the already strong camera experience further by introducing a number of smart features that execute well so that you can just focus on shooting, while the phone makes sure the results are stellar. Smart and useful features like call screening and duplex are tantalizing innovations that only Google can offer. For the camera buff, the Android purist, or just the tech-savvy consumer, these are the Android phones to get right now. I'm Corey Gaskin with PhoneArena. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out PhoneArena.com for our full review on this and many other devices.